Hello, Master Duel Central. How's it going, guys? So today I want to talk about a really interesting deck. This is something a little new for me. This is not a deck I have. Like, I don't have the Dinomorphia cards. It's a little expensive for me. Like, I have so many other decks that I'm just too low on UR. Like, I didn't want to spend my URs on this, but I'm this close to doing it because it looks so damn impressive. Honestly, this might be the most impressive Punk build I've seen so far, and I haven't seen anyone talk about it. So huge shout out to Top Bulldog in my Discord. This was completely his idea. He was just thinking like, what if I mix the Punk cards with the Dinomorphia cards? And honestly, it goes kind of insane. So the main gist of it, the main game plan really, is to set up a Rex turn on your opponent's turn using the Kentrigina. And thanks to Deer Note, the Punk engine is so good at getting big synchro monsters out on your opponent's turn. And it's just a really, really solid engine. And they actually complement each other quite well. You have the field spell here. What is it? Where is it? There it is. Extreme Sessions allows you to draw a card up to twice per turn when you pay life points with a psychic monster, which basically means it's like Pot of Greed. You will almost always get to draw 2 cards on your first turn using this card, and that's really, really solid because you just get to draw maybe into your Dinomorphia cards, or if you didn't use your normal summon, you might draw into Theresia to get that stuff started. So it's really, really good. Like, honestly, you can't like understate how good a Pot of Greed effect is. And plus, on your opponent's turn, you'll get to pay more life points again thanks to Shirakusa, so you can draw another card, so you have a lot of chances of drawing into good hand traps such as Maxi and Ash Blossom. So honestly, the whole draw engine and the whole engine in general works really well. Also, your life points get so low because of the Dinomorphia cards that you make some massive Psychic End Punishers on turn 3 to close the game. You can literally close the game in one swing with Psychic End Punisher most of the time. You'll be starting your third turn with like 600 life points or something like that, and you'll just swing for like 9, 10, 11,000 with this guy. So it's really, really impressive stuff. And honestly, if you're going first, it's pretty much impossible for the best decks in the game like Sprite to beat this. So really, really impressive stuff. Huge shout out to Top Bulldog again for this deck list. I'm so impressed with it. Again, I'm like this close to crafting it because it's actually just so cool. But yeah, we have some really good replays. I'm going to be like taking you through the card by card at the end of the video as always, and you know, just kind of explaining the process in the replays of how the deck plays. It's actually fairly straightforward, and it's really, really cool. Your main, like the best hand you can really imagine is if you have either E-Telly or Foxy Tune. Where is it? This one. If you have either Foxy Tune or E-Telly in hand, plus like either Theresia, Frenzy, or Domain, that's basically the god hand. But if you only have like the Dinomorphia stuff, you're still looking pretty good, even though that's really unlikely with all the Punk cards you're running. And if you only have the Punk cards, well, usually you'll be setting up a way to just interrupt your opponent's turn with an amazing dragon, as well as set up your trap here, the Nashiwari Surprise, just to pop a monster. So a lot of really impressive stuff. Without further ado, let's get into the replays, and then we'll do the card by card. All right, guys, so for this first replay here, we're going to show somewhat of an ideal scenario for the deck. We've got the Foxy Tune in hand, as well as the Domain, which is always what you love to see. Absolutely love to see that. So we're going to go Foxy Tune, discard. We're going to also discard the Ghost, the Ogre Dance, my bad. I mixed it up with Ghost Ogre. Use Ziamine, but it's going to get ashed. But that's okay because we actually had the Shirakusai in the hand here. I think that's what it's called, right? Shirakusai? Shirakusai, my bad. Special summon it, normal summon it, sorry, and then we get to go into our fusion monster, Rising Carp. Rising Carp effect can attribute itself to special summon from deck the Wagon as well as the Deer Note. Wagon is going to search the field spell. Then we get to activate this field spell. It will allow us to draw a card since we paid life points with a psychic monster this turn. Going to go into the Jam Dragon, then Graveyard effect of Deer Note. Effect of Jam Dragon, we'll get to search a level 3 Punk monster from our deck and add it to our hand. So we're going to add the Madame Spider here. Then Deer Note is going to trigger, bringing back the Shirakusai. Then we're going to use the effect of our field spell to draw 1. We draw into Frenzy, really, really good. Then use its other effect. The field spell allows you to banish a Punk monster from the grave to special summon a Punk from your hand. So we get to special summon out the Madame Spider. Madame Spider is going to search out a Nashiwari Surprise. It's basically pop a monster, well, pop a face-up card. So here we go. We set the Dinomorphia Domain. We got the Frenzy, so we're going to set the Frenzy as well. And we set the Nashiwari Surprise. Now, what's really good about this is we have a quick effect on Punk Shirakusai that allows it to synchro summon during your opponent's turn. So we have that interruption as well. We could potentially go, if we need to, we can go into Psychic End Punisher because it's a level 3 plus a level 8. But if we wanted to, we could also actually go into this one here, the Amazing Dragon, which would allow us to bounce 2 cards that our opponent controls since we control 2 Punk monsters. So really, really strong stuff. And let's see here. So we got basically like a double unicorn effect. Our opponent is going to normal summon Cap Shell, and we'll go into our Dinomorphia cards here. We'll go Frenzy, Chain, Domain. So, I mean, at this point, you're feeling pretty amazing, and we're going to chain the Sharakusai. So we're all the way down to 650 life points, and that's just incredible. We're going to go into the amazing Dragon here with the Synchro Summon. Then the effect of Domain is going to fusion summon into Kentrigina. And our Frenzy is going to give us access to our Rexterm here, sending a fusion from our extra deck to the grave, as well as the Diplos to make a Rexterm. So, like, this is just looking a little too crazy. Field Spell triggers to get a draw, and the Amazing Dragon triggers to bounce our opponent's monster here. Then we'll get a draw off the Field Spell. This is just incredible. Our opponent is going to activate Runic Flashing Fire, special summoning out the Hugin Runic Wings. Not that it really is going to achieve anything here. Hugin discard to get the Fountain, but we're going to activate the Nashiwari Surprise to pop the Hugin here. And yeah, it's looking pretty much unplayable now for this Sprite player over here. So they're going to trigger the Graveyard effect of Hugin to return to the extra, activate Fountain, and from here they're just going to scoop it up because there ain't nothing that you can really do. This deck is terrifying, and like just the fact that you saw it so thoroughly destroy Sprite gives you an idea. We have more replays, so let's go check out some other ones, but man, this deck, it really pops off. It's really scary, honestly. So let's see what we have in hand here for our next replay. We've got the Ogre Dance, the Emergency Teleport, and Frenzy. So, like, the ideal scenario for this deck is if you have a way to special summon Xiamine, as well as a way either to normal summon Theresia or already have Frenzy or the Domain in hand. That's really, like, ideal scenario for this deck. So this hand is pretty incredible here. We're going to go into our main phase 1, activate Emergency Teleport, special summoning the Wagon from the deck here. Wagon effect is going to search the Field Spell here. Then we're going to activate the Field Spell. Then we can go ahead and activate Ogre Dance in the hand to search out the Xiamine. We still have a normal summon, so we can normal summon our Xiamine. Xiamine effect is going to search out Foxy Tune. Then we're going to use the effect of our Field Spell to draw one, draw into a second Frenzy. Unfortunate. Discard the Foxy Tune as well as one copy of Frenzy. That's a free discard. To special summon out the Sharakukai. Using its effect, we get to go into the Rising Carp here. Then we're going to get to draw a card, because that's twice per turn, by the way. This Field Spell is basically Pot of Greed. Remember that. Then we get to go into Madame Spider as well as Deer Note using the effect of the Rising Carp. We get to search out the Surprise. Sorry, I forgot the name of this trap. Yeah, the Surprise. Special summon Jam Dragon. Deer Note effect in the grave again to bring back the Sharakusai, as well as the Jam Dragon effect to search a level 3 from the deck. We can also chain the effect of Xiamine to give a little boost. I don't think that's really relevant, but you know, it is there, I guess. We'll get to search out a Xiamine for follow-up next turn. Summon out the Sharakusai from the grave here. So just like last time, we have a quick effect to go into our Synchro on our opponent's turn, as well as some good traps set down here. We also have Crossout, not bad. But we have Frenzy this time. We don't have Domain. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. Our opponent is going to special summon Frog, discarding Atlantean Heavy Infantry. We're going to use our Nashiwari Surprise to get that Swap Frog off of the field. A little early on the button, but I think we have so many plays here that it's actually kind of a good idea. But they still get to send their Ronin Totem. They're going to summon out a Deep Sea Diva with their normal summon. We're going to use our effect of the Sharakusai and chain the Dinomorphia Frenzy. So that's really, really good. So with Frenzy, of course, this time we're going to want to make a Kentrigina so that we can use the effect of Kentrigina reusing the Frenzy. So here we go. We go into our Synchro Monster. We make Amazing Dragon. Amazing Dragon will get to bounce 2 cards. So we're going to use the effect of the Field Spell first. I forgot about that. And then we're going to chain block our Field Spell draw with the Amazing Dragon bouncing 2. We're going to use the effect of Kentrigina, banishing the Frenzy from the grave so that we can go into our Rexterm, which is basically like a massive skill drain, right? So sending these two, make a Rexterm. Oh my goodness. So then we bounce those. Our opponent is out of normal summon. They could still special summon the Ronin Totem from the grave. They're going to go Sprite Starter here, summoning out the Sprite Blue. We're going to use the effect of Rexterm to lower the level of Sprite Blue so that they can't search with it. And at this point, our opponent, all their monsters are going to be negated because they're just not going to have enough like low enough attack to be able to not have their effects negated. So they can go for battle here with Centurion. It doesn't get destroyed by battle. They want to go into Zeus, I guess, but they locked themselves out of Zeus, so I don't know really what they were planning there. They locked themselves out of Zeus by using Sprite Starter. We're going to normal summon out the Xiamine, use the effect of Amazing Dragon to bring back a Synchro from the grave to go into the Psychic and Punisher. And oh my god, look at this difference in life points, guys. Look at that difference in life points. Pay more life points even. Oh wow, that's just incredible. Lower their attack, battle phase. Gonna use the effect of Psychic and Punisher up to 9,125 and attack for 8,800 damage here. So yeah, just, oh man. Psychic and Punisher in this deck, the fact that the difference in life points gets so freaking high that it can just kill on its own is incredible. Keep in mind that worst case scenario, you could always use a level 3 tuner as well as one of your Dinomorphia fusions to just go into Psychic and Punisher and swing for game. It's completely unaffected by card effects, right? So, man, it's just super impressive stuff. Okay, and for the last replay here, we have Maxi, Wagon, 2 copies of Diplos, and a Foxy Tune. So we're going to start by normal summoning Wagon, searching out the field spell, and I think we're going to be mostly focused on the P.U.N.K plays in this scenario here. So activate Foxy Tune, discarding Diplos, use the effect of Sharak Sai, and using these two we can go into our Rising Carp. Then we're going to use the effect of our field spell to get 1 draw. By the way, this field spell is literally Pot of Greed. So this is another really important aspect of the deck, is that just because it kind of functions as a Pot of Greed, since you'll usually be able to draw 2 during your turn using that field spell, you might just draw into your domain or into your frenzy off of it. So that's why it's such a valuable card in this deck. It just gives you that ability to dig a little deeper. And honestly, drawing 2 cards, that's just nothing to scoff at. Now we get to summon the Deer Note as well as the Madame Spider thanks to the effect of Rising Carp. Let's keep going here. Using Madame Spider, we'll get to search out our trap here, the P.U.N.K Surprise, and we get to use again the draw effect. So now we have Emergency Teleport, Domain, Maxi. We're going to go into Chaos Ruler this time, and we're going to use the Graveyard effect of Deer Note to bring back our Sharak Sai. Then we'll use the Chaos Ruler here to mill a couple of cards as well as draw some. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. A couple of picks here. We're not adding anything to hand, but you know, it can be useful just to get those traps in the grave sometimes for the Kentragina. Then we'll get to summon out our Sharak Sai thanks to the effect of the, what is it called? the Deer Note, and summon out the Xiamin. So we're going to set up a Dinomorphia domain. We've got the Neshiwari Surprise. They're playing Live Twin Kiss a Kill. We're going to go Maxi on the Kiss a Kill here. Pretty good. And they're going to use their Crossout Designator. Now that's a little rough. We're going to use our Nash Surprise. Now that was probably a misplay actually, but now we're going to get to use our effect of Dinomorphia domain, and they're going to go Sprite Starter. So this is a little scary, I'm not going to lie. But we can use the effect of Sharakusai in order to get that bounce, so we'll be able to bait out. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, so we get our Amazing Dragon here. Then the field spell is going to trigger to give us a draw after this chain resolves. So Dinomorphia Domain is going to make a Kentragina here, most likely. Yes, making a Kentragina. Very, very solid stuff. Then we get to use Nashiwari Surprise to pop the Kiss a Kill. And since they have a monster on the field, when they get their Lila, it's not really going to be a big deal because they're not going to get to summon another monster anyway. So they have Red and Lila. We can use our field spell to draw and then use the effect of Amazing Dragon. Now, what I would have done in this scenario, and I think this was a bit of a misplay, what you really should have done is use Amazing Dragon as Chainlink 1 and use the field spell as Chainlink 2. That way they could not have responded to your effect of Amazing Dragon. You could have chain blocked it with the field spell. But anyway, they're going to negate the Amazing Dragon using the Sprite Red, and we're going to chain the effect of Kentragina here, banishing the domain from the grave in order most likely to go into a copy of Rexterm. So using Kentragina as well as Theresia from the deck, we go into Rexterm, and our life points are all the way down at 1100 now. So it's going to be pretty hard for our opponent to activate any monster effects at that point, since pretty much all the monsters in the Sprite deck are at least above 1100 attack. And with that, you just call it a day. That's an easy W. So guys, like honestly, I was so impressed with this deck when Top Bulldog showed it to me. I really had to make a video on it. I don't have the Dinomorphia cards, but I almost want to craft them just to try this deck out because it just seems so fun to play. Now with that being said, let's move on to the card by card. Okay, so those were the games. I'm sure you guys are very impressed. Honestly, the deck pops off like crazy. I think this is a really underrated way to play P.U.N.K and Dinomorphia. Honestly, like low-key to me, this looks like it's a Diamond 1 tier deck. Like I think more people should be trying this out. So we're running 2 copies of Maxi, 2 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Shirakusai, 1 copy of Wagon, 1 copy of Madame Spider, 3 copies of Xiamin, 3 copies of Theresia, 2 copies of Diplos, 2 Deer Notes, triple Foxy Tune, 2 copies of Ogre Dance, 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, triple Dark Ruler No More, 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. We've got 1 Gem Extreme Sessions, or as you like to call it, pretty much Pot of Greed, 2 copies of Emergency Teleport, 2 copies of Called by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, double Impermanence, 1 Nashiwari Surprise, 2 copies of Domain, and 3 copies of Frenzy. In the extra deck, we have 2 Kentrigina, 2 copies of Stealth Bergia, 1 copy of Rising Carp, 2 copies of Rexsturm, 1 Chaos Ruler, 1 copy of Dragon Drive, 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 copy of P.U.N.K Amazing Dragon, 1 Psychic and Punisher. We've got the Hope Harbinger, because making rank 8s is pretty easy in this deck. 1 copy of Linger Rebo. This is actually a really good staple to run just in case you get Ibly locked, as well as a single copy of the Dark Charmer. Now, if I was to make any changes to the list, I do think the staples could be adjusted a little bit here. Like, Maxi is amazing, but I do think you should be running probably 3 Ash, although to be fair, Maxi is not that crazy against this deck, but the P.U.N.K engine does summon a lot, and I think having 3 Ash just to be able to negate Maxi is pretty important. As for like the Dark Ruler No Mores at 3, I think that's a really good move. I wish I had 3, honestly. I think right now Dark Ruler No More is like the best it's ever looked in Master Duel. It's just such an easy free win against the Sprite deck. So definitely I think 3 Dark Ruler No More makes sense. I would probably not run Triple Tactics Talent, but this is like a card for people with like, you know, like it's a gutsy move, you know. So I'm just not that guy. I'm not that guy, but I know a lot of people like having that one of Triple Tactics Talent. So fair enough, do your thing. But me personally, I would probably remove this and run 3 Ash as well as 2 Maxi. And other than that, I think it's a really solid deck list. Honestly, I don't see much wrong with it at all. The ratios seem very solid to me. The 2 Domain, 3 Frenzy makes sense. Frenzy is pretty much full combo anyway. Domain is just a nice bonus. So honestly, this deck, really impressive stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the summer, and at this point, it seems like we're going to get them by the spring. So thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. More videos coming your way. Thank you. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Peace.